Greens and taters.
Greens and taters, putting peas and bees.
Talking about some peas and bees.
You got some of them French fried potatoes,
Real nice evening.
Got some of them French fried taters.
Some call it a Kaiser blade. I call it a sling blade.
All right, then.
I recorded every single part of that. It was fantastic. Well, hey guys, what's going on here? River Sullivan coming at you right here, right now, for another episode of This Evening Tonight. And this evening tonight, this week, whether you're watching on the YouTube or maybe even listening to us on Spotify, Stitcher, and some of those other ones, you know, Sounder and all that good shit. Oh yeah, iHeart Radio and iTunes we're now live on. This week, guys, we're going to be talking about Dagohir. For those that don't really understand what Dagohir is, maybe you'll understand this term, LARP, or live-action roleplay. What we're going to do here is we're going to try to debunk some of the myths this week about Larpers and Dagohir, because there are a lot of people I know that are involved in this, and with us today is my good friend, Mason. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up?
And also joining us here in the studio, a man that enjoys the finer things in life. A good coffee, no cream, and a good, strong vape. But a man that is also interested in Dagohir that doesn't really have enough of the understanding, so we're going to be using him actually to bounce and field some of these questions and answers off of. My other friend, brother from another mother, Scott! Hey, Scott, what's up?
What's going on?
Jesus.
All right,
Yes. So... I'm gonna pile the effects on that afterwards.
You do you, guy.
It's gonna sound like a shitty wrestler getting introduced. All right, Mason. So I'm gonna ask you some questions here. Just answer however you feel.
Of course.
So how did you discover Dag?
Well, I discovered Dag. There was at Fairmont State, just walking by, minding my own business. Out of nowhere, I see this guy out of the corner of my eye. He's dressed in some sort of costume. Big old dude, kind of with a bunch of foam swords sitting at the table. I'm asking, hey, what's this? I'm like, they're like, this is Dag. I was like, what's Dag? He kind of picks up two foam swords, hand me one, and, oh, come on, I'll go show you. And we just started whacking each other, just beating the shit out of each other.
Just whacking.
Like, here I am, a guy out of basic training, got into college, just going at it with another dude, whacking each other with wacky bats.
I know exactly what you mean.
I was on my...
I'm just whacking each other, man. Just whacking each other on the quad.
Giving it to each other real good.
With our semi-soft, semi-hard swords. So what made you want to join Dag? Was it the whacking?
Pretty much was whacking.
I'm not going to lie. Quick interjection here for you and for the listeners out there. I was a part of Mr. Mason's Dagohir group here for roughly about a year and a half. Closer to 2 years. Went to some events, and I'm telling you what, I had a blast. I had like some of the most fun in my life that I can as an adult. And yeah, people are going to look at you over it. But then when you go to these events, nobody gives a shit because everybody's there doing their own thing.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's kind of, you get that kind of sense of, okay, everybody's doing about the same stupid thing I'm doing. Let's have fun with it.
Mm-hmm. With Dag, there's other versions out there. I heard there's like Nero and stuff like that. But do you guys ever go by the name of like LARPers or LARPing or LARP or anything like that? If somebody, you're a Dag person, somebody says, y'all a bunch of LARPers, what do you say to that?
In short, yes, because that's technically what it is. It's live action role playing. Mm-hmm. It was based off of Lord of the Rings back in the 70s with a bunch of college students going out and whacking each other essentially, or hitting each other.
So the Dag word draws a lot of its inspiration from like Tolkien.
Yes.
But I also understand that like the United States, like the map, because Dagohir is like a worldwide thing now. From what I read on the Dag website, this was a while ago, the United States map was pretty much laid out almost like the realms through like Skyrim and like Elder Scrolls era, because this area of West Virginia used to be the realm of Oblivion.
Mm-hmm.
And what is it now?
It is now the realm of Stormforge.
Stormforge. Are we related to the Stormcloaks at all?
You could be, you could not be. I cannot discern that information right now.
My ancestors are smiling. How about yours, Imperial?
Faithless Imperials.
Faithless Imperials. How dare you? So, what would you say the greatest challenge you ever faced when you told people you liked Dag or like try to get people interested in it? Like, what's the greatest challenge you try to? It's a hurdle that you have to help that person over just to get them to understand it.
So basically, my wife, I'm going to give an example of this. I'm married. I have a wife. My wife hates when I do Dag because she thinks I look kind of goofy or
like we're a bunch of dweebs. And
like a bunch of
goobers,
dweebs, essentially, because like she's up there all high and mighty, you know.
Oh, I know exactly where you're coming from on this. So how do you break that? How do you break that misunderstanding? Because it truly is a misunderstanding out there.
So you kind of just have to get them out there and get them going.
Mm-hmm.
The more they get into it, the more they have fun with it, the more they.
So you're saying try to get them to go to
Yeah.
an event and everything. Yeah.
Trying to get them to go to essentially a practice, like a whole unit-led practice or something. Get them involved with like a smaller group before you get them enlarged with like the bigger groups and stuff, and move on from there.
So Stormforge, how many members? What are we up to membership-wise here?
Ooh, about 30,
Ooh.
give or take.
Yeah, the almost 2 years ago when I was there, it was like 9 people. Like,
That's because that's all we were acquainted with at the time. And
Yeah.
Oblivion as a whole had at least probably 50 people involved. So
sleeper cells of LARPers.
Yeah, essentially.
Activate.
You had people in like southern West Virginia, parts of Ohio, Morgantown, Parkersburg, all those places.
Yeah.
Glenville.
So how many events have you been to personally?
Personally, I've been to one event, and that was Siege of Amaldris in Ohio.
No, that was the one I went to, but it was
It was the one after.
the one after, yeah. Now what was it called? I always Siege of what?
Siege of Amaldris.
Amaldris. And they got they gave you like a little wooden coin and everything. It was pretty cool. Mine is still around here somewhere. I just haven't been able
Oh,
to
they
find
gave
it.
you wood? They gave me leather.
Yeah, they gave me wood. It was
Oh, you were special than me.
special balsa wood.
Special.
Grasp it firmly.
Firmly grasp it.
So weirdness, right?
Yeah.
Weird events. So that was really the only official event you've been to, but like any other practice, anything like, what was the weirdest thing you've experienced, whether it be funny or outrageous, that you've ever experienced in Dagohir?
Dagohos.
The Dagohos.
Dagohos.
I've heard. Yeah, the Dagohos are real.
This is a real thing.
It's like a groupie, kind of like there's the girls that go out and they dress up and they like go hoeing.
Some men too.
This is a real thing.
It's a real thing.
Yes, and because they get this is the people who do, they get into like a sort of character version of them. They get into like a sort of character, and then they go out and pretend they don't have boyfriends or something like that.
Mhm.
And sleep with however many minutes possible.
So we're talking period dress, accents, all that.
Yeah, I mean, when I was there in Ohio, there was a female there that was like she was like a night elf. So she was like, it was like a 2-piece fur
Really?
thing and full body paint in like purple, and she was throwing hatchets and won like a hatchet throwing competition. I was like, oh my goodness, like. I mean, there are people there that they get completely into character. There were people like there's battles. It's a siege battle, so it's like over 2 or 3 days that you're fighting. And I'm not lying when I say it's one hell of a workout.
Really?
Like the second day, like the first day was like the introduction, whatever. Second day was like the main siege battle, and holy shit, it was like you fought for 5 hours. And I woke up the next day after everybody just gets drunk, like. Pretty much the whole time you're there.
Oh yeah, you get very big drunk at these events.
Yeah, and it was like $35 covered your parking, covered your campsite, and it was free alcohol after like 6 p.m. like every night.
All right.
And like this pavilion that they turned into a tavern. Like, I mean, I was in the tavern in quotes, like singing the Sleeping Scotsman song with people, and like there were people there dressed up as pirates. They actually had a functioning cannon that they would shoot cannonballs into people at the battle. Like it was all like rubber bands and air compressors and stuff, but it was so cool that like I couldn't believe the amount of ingenuity that I had seen when I was there.
So what break down like how the event goes? Like, is there like a scheduled like Or is it just whatever goes? Or
Look, you can go there. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. This was my experience. You can go there, and they have like time frames that say this is when the battles are going to be taking place. And then at night they say, well, then there's the pit fights where you can challenge people 1-on-1 or like 2-on-2. And like the third day, there were different kind of events like 4v4s. But you don't have to go to those things. There are people that get completely dressed up and in character that we call non-coms, right? Non-combatant.
Yes.
Yeah. There was a couple of people I met there, and it was this guy and his wife and their buddy, and they just identified as like travelers. They were elves. They had the little ears on. And like the one guy like sang songs and shit around the fire at night, like because I kept stealing firewood and building the fire up because it rained the whole time we were there. But yeah, like you can just go there, get dressed up, and not do anything. You can just sit there around your campfire, and I mean, there's salt of the earth people.
so basically, it's just what you make of it.
Yeah.
Like,
Are there any bucket places or bucket events that you'd like to attend here, Mason?
Describe bucket events.
You know, like one that in the whole DAG universe around the country or the world, like, is there any like event that you just like want to go to, like bucket list, you know, before you die?
Bucket list. I thought you said bucket events. I'm
Oh.
sorry. I'm sorry. My hearing's going bad.
That's okay.
Okay, so Ragnarok, week-long event, biggest event in Dagohir, and Winter War. Those are my two main.
Where do they host Ragnarok at?
So Ragnarok, I believe they host in Pennsylvania, up near Slippery
Yeah,
Rock.
that's right. Because I looked at that. I looked at that on their website. Absolutely. Familiar with Ragnarok?
yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay, we'll work with that.
I'm sorry, I got nothing.
It's okay. So also at these events too, like I'm certain Ragnarok is probably the best one out there for it. But when I was up in Ohio, the vendors that are up there are off the chain. Like there are guys that are handcrafting armor. Like I bought like a shoulder piece that had chainmail in it and that was DAG ready because there's certain levels of armor that you can wear and certain weapons won't pierce it and certain weapons will. But yeah, I got a pipe, like a smoking pipe, because I was still smoking back then, cigarettes and whatnot, carved out of a deer antler.
Really?
And it was like $20.
Yeah, and some of these people who are involved with Dagohir kind of get involved, kind of go and they don't want to be there to like combat or to like be in character, but they want to go there to be like to sell something.
Yeah.
So there's way much more to it than just.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it actually
all right.
adds to the immersion for when you're there to have almost a period era vendor that also takes a MasterCard.
Fair enough.
If traveler has plastic, Khajiit wears. So what would you say, Mason, would be the best advice that you've ever given to a DAG person or received as a DAG person?
Oh god. The best advice I could ever give you: aim for the person, not the weapon. That's like the biggest thing I can give you, because as a DAG person, as you're going into this, you're going to see something coming after you. What are you going to do? You're going to go after the thing that's coming after you. You're not going to go to the thing that's going behind it. That's piloting it behind it.
Center mass
Essentially, yeah.
all day, every day.
Now, when I was part of the siege, when I was doing practice with like the old unit before, the problem I ran into was I kept getting killed, in quotes, because I would swing a sword how you're supposed to swing a sword. Like I was trying to slice through the target, and I witnessed at siege a lot of people that didn't do that were the people that were getting the most kills, and because they would tap like that, and they'd give the tap and already be on the way back. Like I was making a full follow through and kept getting killed because it was extra time. That I don't know why that irked me so bad. I was like, this was a real sword fight. I'd win. I'd fucking win. I'd fucking show you.
You shattered delusion.
Yeah. You wait till I get Dawnbreaker.
There's a story behind that.
You're gonna have to tell me all about this one.
You played Skyrim, right?
Not in a long time.
There was a sword, Dawnbreaker, in Skyrim, and it was the greatest quest I've ever experienced in Skyrim. Because like it wasn't just shitty. Like you find this random pearl in a dungeon, and you put it in your inventory, and then it starts talking to you. And it was like, I need to go here, and take me here. Another one activates the beacon. Another hand touches the beacon. Like, and you go to this crypt or this dungeon, clear it out in like free this spirit, and it's like the spirit of the sun. And it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen in that whole game because flash of light and you're like thousands of feet in the air, like in like the heavens, walking around in the clouds and prettiness and everything. And his voice is talking to you. It was like, thank you for freeing me. And I give you the sword Dawnbreaker. And it's like this sword, and on the hilt, it's carved open and like kind of splined open, but there's like a star inside of it, like constantly shining. You can use it to like light your way, and it glows almost like Sting, or like Elvis Steel, where it glows blue when in the presence of orcs, but this will glow red. It was great.
You were so excited the next day.
I was the next day, yeah, because me and him, we worked together. I come in, it was like, man, I got this fucking sword, I got Dawnbreaker, holy shit! Me and him would nerd out over Skyrim for a long time.
You see, this is where I'm a little different. I was a World of Warcraft guy.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's the
when
same,
World of Warcraft was
vein,
good.
Same vein. I played World of Warcraft for a little when it was free to like level 5, and then you had to pay for it. So I made a dwarf character who was named Swedish Cook, and I gave him the big mustache, and I would go out in the woods and kill boars, and then get the pot and cook shit in the woods and just wait for people, and it'd be like, "Ordy Bjork Bjork pork," and they'd be like, "What?" "Ordy Bjork pork, one copper," and then. Like that's all it did. That's all I would do. I would sit there and just kill boars and cook pork in a pot and be like, "Bjork, pork." And they'd be like, "Here's one copper." "Oh, the pork." Yeah, and give them a pork. And just, they'd leave. And my buddy, my buddy Teddy Nguyen, at the time was like, "Why? What are you doing? There's other shit to do." He's like, "Nah, I'm already level 5, man. I'm going to go out there. Shit's going to out-level me. In this forest, I am safe and I am God." Because level 5 versus those level 1 and 2 boars, I owned it.
Good that you were getting the most out of your gaming experience.
Yeah, I got it, for free. So Mason, you have any other like creative outlets or passions other than DAG, or any other hobbies?
I'm starting to get into D&D, fun stuff. D&D.
You should have been here for our last episode we recorded. We did AI Dungeon.
Oh,
that episode actually comes out tomorrow.
Oh,
It'll be released tomorrow around noon. But we had me and 2 other guys here playing AI Dungeon. We had like 3 different stories. Have you played AI Dungeon?
I have not.
Pretty much D&D, except the computer's the dungeon master.
Oh.
And if you don't talk to that AI right, it goes off the rails. And if you don't, like me, if you don't have safe mode turned on, it goes really off the rails.
So giving your listener spoilers before the episode released, huh?
A little bit of a teaser. I mean, this episode won't be out until next Wednesday, so Wednesday after tomorrow. So what would you say that DAG has taught you about yourself? Like personal journeys.
I like hitting people.
That's it.
And this is about the safest way to do it. The most legal way.
The most legal way to do it.
The most legal way.
Okay.
I tell you, DAG is a great stress reliever and a good, frustration reliever, especially if you're a college kid in the middle of the semester, you're studying for midterms, and you got all this pent up frustration, and going into your roommate's bathroom won't work with the headphones and the sock. That won't work at all. This is egregious. Gotta hit something.
I can imagine it would probably be pretty liberating.
Yeah, I'm telling you. First time I went to a practice. They were like, you need to hit, and like they had me hold my arm out, and they'd hit my arm with the sword, and say, that's how hard you need to hit, and you need to hit like you're hitting somebody. I said, okay, and they did that. Was it the Viking on the bridge?
Yes.
And Viking on the bridge is they put 2 poles on the ground to simulate like a bridge, and you're there standing on one end. You have a shield and one-handed sword, and there was like 9 other people over there, and they charge in one at a time. They try to fight you, and you can knock them off the bridge. You can kill them, like your shield you have like 9 hit points. It means I can be hit like 9 times before I'm dead. They all have 1. So it started out 1 at a time, and then it goes to 2 at a time, and then 3 at a time. And then like, I made it to where I had 6 people on me and I wore out. Because I remember we had that one guy ran up to me, and they gave me that tower shield. That was like 15 pounds. And he comes running at me.
That was the buckler.
The buckler. I'm sorry. Yeah, the buckler. And he came running at me, and I just stepped into it and swung. Because at first I was blocking, and one was like, you can use your shield. Like, you can bash people with a shield. And I said, okay. Kid comes running into me. I smashed him. He went back about 8 feet. Laid down, his glasses flew off him. They're like, oh, new guy can hit. I'm like, thanks, I like to play. Like,
So are we talking shield wall here? Or is it just random?
yeah, they wanted to do shield wall. Like, eventually, when I was there for practice, they said eventually they wanted to get everybody online with actual shield walls. Now, when I was at that siege battle in Ohio, and then they did the 4v4s, somebody in our group screwed up and said, no armor. Don't wear any armor. So I go rolling out with cargo shorts on, my pirate shirt, and like some shoes. And I have a two-handed sword. And everybody else is dressed similar in my group. And then I see 4 main battle tanks, just scaled armor, these big 6.5 foot, 7 foot tall Norwegian-looking Vikings. The smallest beard on one of these guys was like 3 feet. And they'd like come rolling out like dramatic music is playing in my head. I'm like, what the f*** is this? I look at him, it's like somebody lied. Yeah. Today is a good day to die. And like, I came charging at him, like slid in, like took the legs out of one, and then it was just a gangbang, and they had like hammers and shit, and just beat the crap out of me. They picked me up, dusted me off, and like
y'all were unprepared Saxons at that point.
Yeah,
as soon as they walked out.
But like that was the thing though that right there that gets me about Dagohir, about this LARPing universe, right? We talked to those guys afterwards. I was like, "Where are you guys from?" They're like, "Oh, Minnesota." I'm like, "What do you guys do for a living?" They're like, "Oh, we work oil pipelines and stuff." Like, they're regular blue collar workers. They're people just out there, just like the rest of us, that enjoy this. That's mainly the point that I'm trying to get to with the questions that I've been asking and everything that I want to get people to understand about Dagohir. That don't. They see that stigma of LARPers and they go, oh, a bunch of nerds and dweebs and whatever. Mm-hmm. Get out there and understand and meet people. Meet people that do this. There was a guy there that ran the event when I was at Siege. He was like 45 years old, had 4 kids and a wife and a full-time job. His kids make fun of him for doing it. He's like, my kids think I'm stupid for doing this. But I go out there and I have fun. Like, I have so much respect for somebody that will go out there and just be them. Like, he's out there doing that to have fun. Everybody else be damned. And that's what I believe a lot of people in the DAG universe here have. Like, people that have gone out and done it, we don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what people think about it. If anything, when I was doing it with you guys, I was like, let's get out there. Let's get more people to do this. I've tried to upsell it to some people we work with at our other job, and you just kind of tell them, hey, you can beat the shit out of people and drink beer, and they're like, oh, sign me up. We work with some straight Viking dudes, man. And it's,
that's putting it lightly.
Putting it lightly. Like, they're Viking when they're sober. I mean, so for the final question here, I guess I would ask you, though, Mason, what advice would you ever give a younger version of you about DAG? Or any person out there that's on the fence about Dagohir?
Oh, man.
Introspective, man. Take your time. Take your time.
You're hitting me with a tough question here.
Yeah.
Oh, I would think, you know that full set of armor you wanted? You better get it. It's going to be useful.
So you're saying, like, they need to be prepared and armored up? Yeah, because you're going to get hit a lot. My whole body felt bruised, and I had 1 shoulder piece of armor and 2 gauntlets, and that was it. Like, my legs hurt. Like, every muscle was sore. Like, my butt muscles, the glutes, they hurt just from having to get up from being knocked down so many times. Because some of these people, I thought I was a pretty big dude and was in relatively decent shape until I got to that siege battle. And I got laid the F out on my ass a lot because we had the first siege battle and it was just 2 lines. Like, they were like, you guys are this team, you guys are this team. And there was like 100 people on each side. So we start marching towards each other. And like, my name for that was Gunbjorn, was like the fighting bear. And I remember people like walking at us from the other team chanting. And then somebody was like, Gunbjorn, you're going to let them yell at you like that? And I was like, nope. Took off from the line, like ran straight at him, screaming, Leroy! Plowed, just got plowed. And they were like, you're stupid. I said, it's my first time.
I'm new.
Don't mind me, guys. It just hurts when I breathe. It's fine. People passed around pickle juice during those siege battles because the electrolytes, they had like a big, like, gallon jug of pickles. And like, here, take a pickle. Take a swig. Take a pickle. Take a swig. Like,
forced pickle juicer. Hydration.
Yeah.
Devour. You're a pickle boy.
Let the electrolytes swim within you.
So tell me about this armor, like the materials.
I mean, there's like the armor I had was just 2 wrist gauntlets, which was just like a hard leather that has to be to a certain measurement or specification. And all your armor and all your weapons are checked prior to the battle. Like there are inspectors that go through, make sure the weapons are good, make sure if you say, hey, this is armor, they'll check it and go, nope, not thick enough, doesn't count. It's just a piece of your garb. Your garb being your costume or whatever it is you want to call it, your clothing that you're wearing while you're there. Now, I'm telling you, the coolest people I met at the siege was the Poisoners Guild.
The Poisoners Guild.
Have you met them?
Yes, and I've met one person. I can't remember their name for the life of me though. But yeah, when I regret taking the drink that they gave me.
Imagine
real quick, the Poisoners Guild is like a harem. It's like a chapter of DAG, and
more like a brothel.
Yeah, it's mainly women, but they're pretty much like moonshiners, and like we were sitting at our campsite the time I was there. And they're like, oh hello, and you're like, oh hello, we're a traveler. Good day. You don't have to be like that, by the way. That's actually a big stigma. A lot of people think that Dagohir and LARPing is like you see, oh good day to you. When I was at Hail Camp, oh hail, what's up? But we're sitting around the campfire, and I had brought a lot of alcohol, and we were powering through it. Well, the Poisoners Guild, they show up, and they said, oh, here, we have this, and it was like, they called it like Phoenix Blood or something, and it looked like kind of orange juicy or whatever. And you crack a bottle, and like, you drink, like, man, is that delicious. And they're like, how much alcohol's in that? You don't want to know. And you're like, so we're just grabbing it, and they start handing bottles out because they just make all this, and we're just giving a lot of it away just to sit down and hang out with you. Mainly because we had like a speaker and music and everything, and the only real working fire there. Yeah, like it's just moonshiners is pretty much what it is. But man, you wake up the next day, not feeling too good.
So did you know that? Did they introduce themselves as the Poisoners Guild when you took the drink?
Yes. Okay. Well, they were like, we're from the Poison. I'm like, what's that? And they're like, well, we make fine elixir.
Don't worry about it. Just drink this.
Shut up, pussy.
Okay, so my first meet up with the Poisoners Guild did not go exactly as planned, nor did it ever go as planned. They gave me a drink called a WMD, which is also known as weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah. So,
little did I know, I'd heard about this, but I didn't know how good it was. Apparently, it was supposed to knock you the f*** out, essentially.
Yeah.
Curse words okay.
It's a podcast. F*** you, YouTube.
So, essentially, last thing I remember is being blackout, drinking that WMD, blackout, and then I don't know what happened next.
Might have been a roofie.
Possibly.
I've been roofied. It's terrifying.
I believe it.
I had a White Russian at a club down in Georgia, and I had a couple sips. Next thing, 9 a.m. back in my hotel room. No clue what happened. You know, it's good, though, when you walk out and everybody that you went out with that was in the same hotel, they walk out and go, there's that crazy I'm like, oh, God.
I feel like death. I felt like death the next morning.
I remember my memories hurt. Like, every time I try to recall something, like, it just was like, bing, it would, like, hurt, like somebody's dragging a nail into your head. That's pretty much all for our segment here, guys, for the Dagohir interview with my friend Mason. But we still got some time left here in the show. So we're going to try to capitalize on the situation, especially having some people that are familiar with some of these. We're going to play ourselves another round of AI Dungeon, where I, River Sullivan, shall be your dungeon master.
I thought the AI was the dungeon master.
Well, I'm going to be narrating what it says. So.
Oh, okay. All right.
So let's see. We have our settings here. Fantasy, mystery, apocalyptic, zombies.
Let's go fantasy.
Fantasy, yes. Character, a noble, a knight, a squire, wizard, ranger, peasant, or rogue.
I'm going to go with a knight.
What shall your knight's name be? Scott shall name the knight.
Kanye.
Kanye. He's a giant, yo. Real big. All right, so now we're generating the story, and to add on to the ambiance, we're going to be doing something that I tried before, and I'm going to keep rolling with it this time.
Yeah, sound effects.
Well, does something put you in the mood?
Ooh, fancy.
All right.
All right, hang on now. Let me tune this up just right. You are Kanye, a knight living in the kingdom of Larian. You have a steel longsword and a wooden shield. You are on a quest to defeat the evil dragon of Larian. You've heard he lives up at the north of the kingdom. You set on the path to defeat him and walk into a dark forest. As you enter the forest, you see a large black dragon flying overhead. He looks down upon you from his perch high above the trees. I am Lord Draven. I command this beast. The dragon says as he points to your sword, kill it. What?
You got anything, Scott?
Prepare to die, dragon.
Prepare to die, dragon. The dragon flies off with his sword. And you prepare yourself for battle. You charge forward and swing your blade at the dragon's head. It swings its wings but misses you by inches as it hits some nearby tree instead.
I guess I run over to the dragon. I chop off half his tail.
You quickly grab the dragon's tail and pull it back. The dragon lets out a scream of pain before falling to the ground. You stand up and look around for any sign of your companions who were supposed to be here waiting for you. They must have gotten lost in the woods or something.
Can we kick dirt in its eyes?
Why did the music just stop too?
I broke the game.
Hang on. There we go.
We're going to end up to torture this dragon mercilessly until we get something from it.
You kick dirt in the dragon's eyes, causing it to fly away. You take a moment to recover your recent attack and start walking towards the north where you think Lord Draven is located.
To the north.
You say to the north and then turn to go east. Soon after you leave the forest, you hear a voice behind you. What are you doing? A young man asks. There's nothing there.
I pants him. I'm just gonna be a playground bully. Let's just make him a playground bully.
You pull down the young man's pants and find that they're made of leather. You laugh at how easily it was to get caught like this. I'm just gonna put, haha, now you have no pants. You say, haha, now you have no pants, and begin laughing again. This time, however, you notice that the young man has a small dagger strapped to his belt. What are you doing? A second young man asks. It's not safe out here.
I push him over.
Still confused why we can't go north.
I mean, you can try to tell it you want to go north again. You push the young man over and he falls backwards onto the ground. You continue to laugh at your own stupidity.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what.
Let's tell it, head to the north. Let's get the fuck out of here. You head north and soon arrive at the northern part of the kingdom. There are many towns and villages along the way. Most people seem to live in relative isolation from each other, though there are a few settlements such as Fort Defiance, which is home to several soldiers stationed there.
Shall we stop in Fort Defiance?
I think we shall.
You walk through the village of Fort Defiance and see that most people are either asleep or sitting on their porches watching television.
They're watching television in a fantasy
What's
world?
going on here?
All right.
Wait, I'm not done. You also notice that the town is completely empty, save for one soldier standing outside his door reading a newspaper.
Okay, that makes sense.
What year is it?
Can we walk up on someone's porch, sit down, and ask him what's on TV?
Okay. You walk up to the soldier's porch and sit down. He looks up from his newspaper and smiles when he sees you. Hey, I'm Sergeant Mikey. What do you want? He says politely. I'd like to watch some TV, you reply. Now, if you don't want to say anything or do anything, you can just press enter and it'll allow the process to keep going wherever the story's at.
Enter.
I was going to say, let's pants him too.
You're trying to get, like, he pulled off his pants and then floppy trouser snake.
No, it's like, we named him Kanye. Kanye has become ridiculous nowadays. You gotta take it for weirder and further.
Oh, yeah, sure, the sergeant replies. Thanks, you say, and begin to turn off the TV. Wait a minute. You're going to be late for work if you don't finish watching TV. This AI dungeon sometimes plays out like an acid trip, by the way.
Is it acid or is it weed?
I don't know.
So that's where we're at. We're late for work.
You might be late for work if you don't finish watching TV.
Wait, we might be late for work
If you don't finish watching
If we
TV.
don't finish watching TV.
We put on an epic display of breakdancing.
This music feels like it's just like the generic Skyrim music.
You know what it reminds me of? Like, I don't know if y'all remember Baldur's Gate
Yeah.
for the computer, like the top-down type view game.
This is the kind of thing that D&D, that dungeon masters in D&D use.
I could see that.
Like generic traveling through the forest music.
So do dungeon masters in D&D actually use like music and stuff?
Some do just to like create
Create
like,
the immersion?
create more of an immersion.
Did we break it yet?
It couldn't come up with anything, so I told it to revert. So now we're back to, wait a minute, you're going to be late for work if you don't finish watching TV. Finish watching TV? You said that before, Mason.
Yeah, sure.
Let's do it. Couldn't handle the epic display of the breakdancing. Just couldn't describe it well enough.
It overwhelmed the AI.
Impossible! Like, it just doesn't know. Whoa. What's going on here? Holy shit.
Must be a SpongeBob marathon.
Okay, hang on. How? I reverted, so I wrote, finish watching TV. It says, you put on an epic display of breakdancing. Your moves are impressive enough that the sergeant doesn't even notice you're gone for so long. Eventually, he notices you've left and goes back to his newspaper. Well, I guess that settles it then. You finish watching TV and leave the house. As you walk away, you hear the voice of the sergeant calling after you. Hey, kid, where are you headed? I heard about your move. Yeah, I just left Fort Defiance. This makes no sense.
To go north, we must go east. Apparently.
I just said continue north. As you continue north, you come across a large forested area with trees growing high above you. In the distance, you can make out a mountain range. It appears that this is where your destination lies.
I set
Go
the
there.
forest ablaze.
So what is our objective?
It's
The
whatever
dra-
you want it
the
to be.
dragon
The
or the
dragon is
Lord?
pretty much... Oh, God. You set the forest on fire. You dance around the flames, trying to burn yourself as much as possible. Soon you realize that this isn't working very well, and you feel extremely hot all over. No! You scream in pain and fall to the ground. Ask Tom Cruise to put the fire out.
Healing potion. I consume 30 cheese wheels.
I eat all the cheese. You call out to Tom Cruise, who is currently filming Top Gun 2. Tom, put the fire out, you cry. What? What am I not supposed to do? That was my idea, Tom exclaims. Please, Tom.
You can hold off on filming for 1 second.
Please, Tom Cruise, you must help me, you shout again. Suddenly, Tom comes running into the clearing with his crew members. They immediately stop what they're doing and run towards you. Should we let this process? I kind of want to let this process.
Let this play out.
Kid, we need to talk, one of them says. Talk, you ask, about what? We need to tell you something really important, the man exclaims. Explains.
Keep it going, Headhunter.
Yeah.
Really? What's wrong, you ask? I think you know already, but let me explain anyway, he continues. The man takes off his cap and speaks into it. There's a war going on between two kingdoms, one of which is the good guys, and the other, which is evil, he begins to explain. Where is Tom Cruise?
Did they intentionally program this AI to be like autistic or?
AI, Autistic Interface Dungeon? I don't know.
I used to fear Skynet, but no
Yeah,
more.
you play this a couple times, you're not going to be afraid. Which kingdom do you mean, you ask? Well, there's the kingdom of Estafier, and then there's the kingdom of Clyton. Oh, so why did you bring us here, you ask? Because it's the last stand for the good guys and the only way to win this war if we take back Estafier. How do we get there, you ask? It'll be hard, but we can make it happen. But how will we get from here to Estafier, you continue? By boat, the man replies.
We were in the middle of a forest Now there's a boat?
Yeah. So how many people would that require, you ask? Only enough to transport some of our best fighters and a few soldiers as well. What about supplies, you ask? Supplies aren't an issue because we've got plenty of food and water. And we're on a boat, dumbass. Water all around us. And weapons, you ask? Weapons are a little more complicated, but I'm sure we could come up with something. This is just spoon-feeding like breadcrumbs, like, let's get to the plot. Wait, what kind of weapons, you ask? A lot of them. We're going to need everything we can find. Okay, so where are we going to, you say? We're heading towards the city of Estafir, the place that we're supposed to be taking back so we can get weapons to take it back, but we're going to the place that we need to go get the weapons to take it back. Oh, God. Where is...
They're designing a coup d'etat.
Go to Estafir.
The next day, you head to Estafir. You don't know much about the place, but you figure it must be a pretty big city. When you arrive, the first thing that catches your eye is the massive amount of guards patrolling outside.
Charge the gates.
Seduce the guards.
With breakdancing.
Breakdancing.
Seduce the guards with breakdancing.
I like it.
While charging the gate. As soon as you enter the city gates, you start dancing around the guards. They look over and see you doing it, but they don't seem to care too much. It seems like they just want to dance with you anyway. I told him dance with the captain of the guards and steal his keys.
Using the Jedi mind trick, tell him to surrender.
Oh, God.
What?
While you're dancing with the guard, he suddenly grabs your hand and begins leading you out of the gate. He tells you to follow him back into his house. As soon as you walk inside, he leads you to a bedroom and locks the door behind you.
Who programmed this AI? It always goes there.
No, we can't avoid it. Pants him and push
He
him
then
over.
takes off his armor and throws it on the floor.
Cut his head off.
He sits down on the bed and starts kissing you all over.
Cut his head off.
You begin to feel very uncomfortable with the situation, but you keep
Please,
quiet
quick.
out of fear of being caught by the guards.
Cut his head off.
Cut his head off.
Blow the whistle.
Suddenly, the captain pulls out a dagger and stabs himself in the neck. Blood spurts everywhere and he falls backwards onto the bed. You run over to him and try to help him up, but he doesn't move.
Is he a masochist? Is that the right term? Masochist.
It's like, said Lee, leave the room. You grab his face and kiss him. He doesn't resist, but instead kisses you back. You both stand up from each other and leave the room.
He was stabbed in the neck.
After walking through the streets for a while, you finally get tired enough to fall asleep.
So fall asleep right. Find a box. Beg for change. I don't know.
I just put down, and you live happily ever after because we're over an hour right now. When you wake up, you realize that the captain of the guards was dead. You were also injured in some way, but fortunately nothing too serious. However, you still feel sick to your stomach from eating human flesh yesterday. Just the end. After a few days, you decide to visit the doctor. He looks at you and gives an odd look before leaving. You never learn what happened to him, but you do find out that the townspeople have been complaining about how strange things have been happening lately. I typed in the end. It's supposed to end. So the end. That is, yeah.
That was the epilogue.
That was, yeah. We ate people, and God. Well, that was all the time we have, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into this little soiree of what the fuck just happened.
That got a lot weirder than I thought it would.
Yeah, that definitely got weird. But all right, guys, that was all the time we have here for this evening tonight. And with me again was my friends Mason and Scott.
Yep.
Yep.
Later.
We'll see you later.
That was a good outro there.
All right, guys, thanks. Like I said, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to check us out here. iHeart Radio, Stitcher, Spotify, Sounder, Google Podcasts, and iTunes on top of YouTube as well. Just look at any one of those. The links will be in the descriptions here below. But thanks again for stopping by. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, guys, peace out.